Hello and welcome back to Rogue Trader with the Infinite Museion DLC has just launched, which includes a brand new hero, augment systems, a bunch of reworks, a new colony, and a bunch of cool Necron content, including stuff around Trazen the Infinite, who from the amazing Infinite and Divine books, which I'm very, very excited about because they're some of my favorite Warhammer books. We have loaded up our old save back when we were playing as Biggest Turg. We've done a full run through of this campaign as a Chaos character, but I wanted to try and show off some of the DLC stuff today, if we can. I'm not exactly sure how it's going to work. We've loaded up our save from the end of Act 4. So everything is kind of done up until the end of Act 4, going into the final act. And what I thought we would do is we would just jump around, see if we can activate some of the quests, and then see where they go. And if it doesn't work, we have a couple of saves from Owlcat, but I figured, you know what, man, we had Biggest Turg run this whole way. We might as well let him do his thing and explore the galaxy with the build that we kind of know. It's been a while. So I'm literally just going to hop around and see if any stories activate. Your lordship, I beg your pardon, but this cannot wait. Talar entreats you to visit the Sector Bionica at your earliest convenience. The ancient archaeotech, the sacred implementation throne, is at risk of being lost forever. This must be the augments. The relic is unique and as old as the ship itself. Damaged during the Trader Voidkut's mutiny, despite the tech priest's careless prayers, its machine spirits continue to fade. It may soon be irrevocably lost. Well, I shall come, and I truly hope this relic is worth my attention. I humbly await your arrival. Perfect. It's exactly how I wanted it to work. Our last run, episode 45, was 10 months ago. Yeah, so it's been about a year since we did this run. Because those uploads to YouTube were staggered out over time. And I think for the next DLC, we'll do another full run, hopefully, if it's a big one. And, do a dogmatic run, because this is our chaos run. The implementation throne is majestic in its antiquity. The metal bench surrounded by countless injectors, manipulators, and vid screen leaves no doubt as to its purpose. The very nature of this machine is designed to transform living bodies by fusing them with blessed iron. Even to the naked eye, it's clear that the machine is ailing, grievously so. The manipulators' segmented tubes hang limply, bleeding ungently, while the dusty lumens are only dimly illuminated. As the tech priests try to revive the relic, each swing of their sensor is like a pendulum, ticking down the moments until the throne's untimely demise. Your lordship, thank you for gracing the Sector Bionica with your presence. You are already acquainted with the Drive Master Zira Talar. It is she who has been tending to the ancient relic. She is here to convey the wretchedness of the present position. So I guess this is maybe a character you meet in like Act 1 or Act 2. This is the thing, because we're coming in a bit late, I don't know how much automatically runs up through. You know, we don't have the original, the new Tech Priest character either, so... Lord Captain, the blessed machine spirit that dwells within the throne is fading. I and many grieving tech priests have been performing unending sacraments of tech healing and prayers of operational benediction on this shrine, but even our devotions are merely staving off the inevitable. The throne is a creation of the Omnissiah made centuries ago. Even before the unholy desecration of the relic, we were barely able to propitiate its ancient machine spirit to perform sacred augmentation procedures. Many litanies and operation protocols did not survive through the ages. Now, with the demise of the keepers of the implementation throne during the mutiny, they have been lost forever. The sacred machine must be saved at all cost. What makes it so important? It's unique, one of a kind. In the Lodge's annals of the Adeptus Mechanicus, this throne is identified as a shrine capable of autonomous augmentation rituals. Its loss is unacceptable, and any condoning of it is sacrilege. Only the Rogue Trader or persons authorized by the Rogue Trader may use it. It's an invaluable investment in your longevity and bodily integrity. How is it damaged? During the uprising instigated by the rebellious Master of Whispers, the Sector Bionica was besieged. The Janitors and Medicae officers heroically defended the throne, but eventually the rebels broke through. Most of the defenders fell in the battle, and many machines were lost and damaged. Many able to be restored, but the throne was particularly badly damaged. I played this in July last year. Yeah, okay, so about a year. Right? Age of Wonders generates view. Finale of... Yeah, I mean, Rogue Trader was a long run. Age of Wonders is like the main thing that's blown up on my YouTube, so it tends to do pretty well. There's a reason we do all the DLC for that as well. What sacraments can the throne perform? Capable of autonomously healing flesh and blessing With augmentations under the supervision of a knowledgeable janitor, complex procedures can be performed with unimaginable speed and precision, and stimulants administered in the required proportions and combinations. It's a true miracle of the Omniscia. I think the other thing is like, this did really bad on YouTube, but it did really well on Twitch when we did our playthrough. As well, if not beating Age of Wonders sometimes. All right, how do we save the throne? Only a servant of the machine god, endowed with the high rank of Janitor Extremis, versed in the necessary rituals and learned in the mystical currents of the motive force, can perform the reparative sacraments and reanimate this mechanism. The only place one might find such a servant is the cloistered station of Alter Templum Calixis Extension 17. The cloister is referred in the Forbundance system. Its denizens are not well disposed to communicating with the laity, but I'm willing to leverage every diplomatic connection I possess to gain an audience with the clergy. I doubt this wreck could even be repaired, but since it's so important... The Drive Master's Vox Grill emits a Banaric area of thanks. I thank you for your favor, your lordship. Before you depart the Sector Bionica, I would like to present to you Janitor Majoris Ferens and Vivisector Jazz Martinax, performing an urgent procedure and therefore unable to attend the inspection in person. I'm certain they will receive the Rogue Trader's visit as a great honor. We, for those of you who don't know, our guy is a noble... He is a lazy noble who is just all about chaos and doing as little as possible. Just absolutely going for power. The smell of medical supplies and weak cries of pain fill the cold air. Two figures stand over an operating table, the patient lying upon it, bound in place, his head soaked in blood. A woman in uniform desperately trying to force her way to the table. Help my son in the name of the Golden Throne. I know you can. Gnautok has endured so much. The middle deck veteran is contorted with grief. Every word she speaks comes out as a long moan. Your lordship, Vivisector Jays Martinax at your service. The Rogue Trader's visit is a momentous event for the Sector Bionica. Will you grant us the honor of observing this operation? It's nice to see a cool guy with artwork. Oh, yeah. Weird potions. Big old syringes. The collar that would just get in the way of everything you're trying to do. It's true Warhammer. Milady? A Harkonnen? Yeah, he's pretty Harkonnen. Pretty Harkonnen coded for sure. Oh, yeah. Oh, man. I do love the AdMech. The AdMech were the first thing I really fell in love with when I started getting into Warhammer 40k. And then I learned how impossible they are to paint. And I was like, all right, I better find a new group. The hunched tech priest on the opposite side of the table erupts in a furious binaric trill as he struggles to immobilize the thrashing and moaning patient. After a time, he turns his metal-faced plate towards you. The lifeform Janitor Majoris Ferens welcomes Lord Captain Bigasturg von Valancius. I second my colleague's statement. Tell me about the operation. Lord Captain, our guiding light, my son, he's injured and dying. I carried him here in my arms on my own so the surgeons could put him back from the brink. Please don't leave us. Still working the ejector, Martinax turns his head towards you. The young man has suffered a serious head injury that requires immediate intervention. The Janitor Majoris and I are attempting to stop the flesh from dying off while simultaneously deciding on a strategy for further treatment. The man chained to the bed is missing the top part of his skull. The moist pink contents glisten in the lumen light. The patient is conscious. His eyes are open and his parched lips are constantly moving as he mumbles. The man's terrified gaze meets yours and he falls silent. For all the advances in medical, you know, we can't even put someone out. How curious. It seems the Rogue Trader's presence is indeed influencing the patient's state of mind. Whether it's a manifestation of devout faith in his anointed or a bizarre form of delusion, it can only be to our benefit. Whatever you are doing, your lordship, please continue. Your mother is here. She's worried for you. I have a good story that could dull the pain. Look away. Smile at the patient. Continue to look at the patient. I'm going to smile at the patient because that seems the creepiest. For a moment, you think there's a flicker of vivid emotion in the person's pain-ravaged eyes. Something akin to extreme surprise. Sign of the Aquila. Absolutely not. I believe he's deteriorating. The scans result the opposite. The heart rate of the life form is returning to normal. You know, I don't want to dull his pain. His pain gives me pleasure, if anything. I'm the rogue trader, not a soul healer. How much longer do you expect me to entertain him? We're almost finished, Lord Captain. I apologize for the inappropriate request, but we just need 1 minute. All right. I can at least tell a good story then. If nothing more, it's an opportunity for Biggest Turk to just talk about himself. You do not need to finish the tale. A moment later, the two people leaning over the patient simultaneously raise their instruments, and in a colorless voice, the tech priest proclaims, registering the complete stabilization of the lifeform's condition. Internal cortical damage has been treated, requesting closure of the callet and transfer to the victim to B-class stimulants. He will live, but the stimulants won't replace that part of his brain. If we implant a sacred cortical augment in his skull, it will restore his lost ability to think and act. Lord Captain, please, your subject has a genuine need for this augmentation. Can't we just make him a servitor? Why would I waste anything valuable on this guy when we can just servitize him? This constitutes a violation of the sacred directives. The value of an individual life form is incomparably less than the value of the sacred technology required. Yeah! Augmentics of the specified class are rare and restricted to senior officers, thus dictate the regulations of Sector Bionica. Okay, I guess the question is who is the man? An expendable life form to be used in void battles, one of thousands. A soldier from a Void's combat unit and devoted servant of the Emperor. This young man has been fighting for his life through horrendous pain. If you allow the augment to be installed, his perseverance will become an example for others to emulate. My only son serving in a Void unit. I was the one who told him to go there. Well, how was he injured? In the last Void battle, he barely survived his injuries. He suffered a few healing attempts from charlatans on the lower decks and endured a long road to come here. No weapon can destroy the devotion and fortitude of a true servant of the God Emperor. True devotion is revealed not in a servant's life, but in their death, so teach the tenets of the web. With a discreet motion, Calabella touches the bloodstain on the wounded man's head and draws a crimson sign upon the metal of the cot. What are your respective proposals? I propose my opinion may strike you as strange, but the fact that the poor soul has found his way to the Bionica might be regarded as a blessing. Hear me out. The installation of a cortical augment will restore the patient to health, serving as an example for the rest of us through his heroism. This will inspire the people and strengthen their faith in the Lord Captain. Let them know the Rogue Trader's mercy will not abandon them in their hour of need. That doesn't sound anything like me. The life form on this operating table is easily replaceable and does not possess any substantial functional value. Therefore, installation of the implant would be devoid of sense. Proposing replacement of lost function by means of Class B powder stimulants. The life form will have limited viability and will be gifted an optimal termination period with partial functionality. This man could do without expensive augments. Initiating expedited completion of the operation. The upper, almost melted portion of the patient's skull closes over the brain matter with a crunch, and the drill at the end of the tech priest's delicate mechadendrite emits a shrill whirring sound before digging into the bone and crudely putting it back in place. Requesting assistance from the vivisector lifeform by performing composite suturing of the bone. No further operative intervention is required. Gnotek's mother sucks in a breath and forcibly wipes away the tears. Her half-crazed eyes roam over her surroundings and finally latch onto the genitor majoris. Animal rage simmers in her blown pupils as if she was ready to lunge at the tech priest, but the impulse dissipates after a moment. In a dull voice, she says, "Thank you for your mercy." Man, Warhammer World is brutal. Do Turg's underlings call him Biggest Turgus behind his back? I think they call it to him his front. Oh my god, there's so many bodies here. Good system. I puts him in there and a chainsaw just goes immediately cut into his leg. Your lordship? Okay. You know, just because we've beaten the game doesn't mean I'm going to stop and not pick up all the loot available.
I tread a path unexplored.
There's brand new areas to see. Conveyor designed to transport dead bodies to the disposal unit. Metal biting his skin, oozing pus everywhere. Technomats. Here's the janitor, some more goods. Looty. Screens of the ancient mechanisms is empty and dark as a dead man's eye sockets.
The world trembles beneath my feet.
Scanning lifeform. Visit registered. Welcome to the Sector Bionica, Lord Captain. You will be received by Janitor Majoris Ferens. The tech priest turns and suddenly realizes he was standing with his back to you. The front of his head is covered with blinking visors. Please register my gratitude for sparing the sacred cortical implant for being installed in a low-efficiency lifeform. May the Omniscience bless your prudence. With the highest priority, I notify the Lord Captain that the sacred Archaeotech is still in the agonal state caused by the malicious actions of the rebels. The functionality of the Sector Bionica is limited. The life form, Genitor Majoris Therens, humbly awaits your assistance in purifying the reliquary mechanism. Why do you care so much about curing the throne's machine sickness? I am inclined to conclude that the Archaeotech augmentation machine harbors a spirit that blesses all things around it with the grace of the Omnissiah. Its nodes and pistons are filled with the wisdom of the machine god, unfathomable to humble adepts, and if entropy consumes the spirit entirely, such wisdom will be lost. While the body of the machine remains in dysfunction, its spirit suffers from idleness. The motive force cannot nourish it, and its lessons remains blind. Litanies and rituals keep such an ancient creation of the Omnissiah from fading away completely, but these are only palliative measures. And if the spirit abandons its receptacle, the Sector Bionica will fall into decay, for this relic serves the same function as the heart does in human life forms. Can you tell me a little about this place? This performs the repair and installation of sacred augments. What's your job? Blessings of installation, consecration, and maintenance of the augments. You work in tandem with the Vivisector. He performs the functions of preparing the carrier for installation of the maximum efficiency configuration. Dude, tech priests are so difficult to read. Like, these guys are the worst to have to actually like speak out loud. Who makes the final decisions? My will bears the sanction of the highest order, for the configuration of its source demonstrates maximum efficiency and is blessed by the Omnissiah. Tell me more about you. Given your inability to conduct a scan, I will respond to a limited set of inquiries. Awareness. You and Merton X do not get along. Response affirmative. The Vivisector's life form regrettably ignores the sacred requirements of efficiency in the servants of the Omnissiah, attributing it to rudimentary experiences. Are you allowed to work with living flesh? I thought you hold it in contempt. Flesh is weak, but its efficiency can be improved with blessed metal. According to the directives of the Omnissiah, pivotal life forms, like pivotal mechanisms, must withstand maximum stress and produce the best results. My duty lies in improving them. How'd you get here? You worked on Kiava Gamma and was deployed to this flagship. Proficiency in augments was appraised by the previous rogue trader. Very good. I must take my leave. Tech use, demolition, multi-key. I think we can just hack into this for free.
Successful.
Here we go. This is our first augment. The range in which medikit and stimulants can be used is increased by 10. When a medikit is used to restore an ally's wounds, it restores more wounds. When a stimulant is used, it restores wounds and grants ally momentum equal to the resolve. Robot arm. You have obtained an augmentation. They cannot be equipped like weapons or gears. You need to use an implementation throne. And sorry, where's the other guy? Here he is. Apologies for my appearance. My name is Jays Martinix. I serve as Vivisector of the Sector Bionica. I must boldly warn you, until the relic that powers the Bionica with the miraculous knowledge of the Omnissiah is healed, the installation of sacred implements cannot be performed. Why is it important with you? Years of practice, I learned healing from them. Artistry within the machine joins flesh and sacred metal. It's so delicate, no humans can replicate the effort. Cool. Its loss would rob the Sector Bionica of its soul. Tell me more about yourself. You and Ferens do not get along. I know there's a test in here, so... Lord Captain, sometimes we'd seriously disagree. Ferens believes that replacing flesh with iron and receiving the blessing of the Omnissiah is a privilege of the few. I, on the other hand, make no distinction between servants of the God Emperor. Every faithful soul deserves a chance to continue working for the glory of humanity. It's not always easy for Ferens and I to find a compromise. Alright. I don't really need to know the rest of this, so...
Embrace true power.
I mean, we could sit there and talk to him, but we don't need to. We can explore more. They did add, I think, 2 new sections to the ship. I really like between this and the Void Shadows DLC how much the ship got fleshed out. Like, it went from being like you have the bridge in your room to being like, oh, you have a full ship. Forgot how much my ship is just full of skulls and blood and cages. Horrifying screams. I am very curious what it looks like when you go dogmatic. I imagine it's a lot of candles. All right. So the Furbundus sector? I think that's really far away. Hey, Momo. How you doing? I think Furbundus is like way back here. Yeah. Oh my god. All right. Thankfully, we do have like safe paths everywhere. I am curious if I'll be able to get... It's a good question. If we're going to be able to unlock the new colony. Because that does exist now. Your Lordship, we've contacted Alter Templum Calixtus Extension 17. In accordance with your orders, the Astropatric Choir sent a message to the station about the plight of the throne. Templum responded to our overture very promptly, which itself is extremely remarkable for cloistered servants of the Omnissiah. The AdMech report is that they are most aggrieved by the misfortune that has befallen the ancient relic, and they are prepared to dispatch to the flagship a learned man versed in the restoration of archaeotech machines. His name is Eogon Febris. This is the new guy. And he's not ready not only to personally assist the dynasty, but also teach the ship's engineers all the necessary rituals. The Crimson Priests ask only that you visit the station and inform them of the fate of the miraculous fusion reactor from Rycad Menorahs. I think we stole that, didn't we? Why don't they come to me? It's a very unusual place, a tech priest monastery, access of which is denied to all who do not belong to the ordained ranks of Mars. Some say its cells are the most secure haven for the sanctity of the Omnissiah, while others say the most heavily guarded prison of the AdMech and the Expanse is hidden inside. It's surprising enough that they've communicated with laity at all. Interesting. This a new run? No, this is the continuation of Biggest Urg. We just, we hopped in at the end of Act 4, so we're like an endgame build, but we're going back and doing all these quests now. All right, let's go visit these guys. What is exciting about this new guy as well is I'm pretty sure he is a heretic. I want to play this game, but I'm not a huge reader. I mean, you don't need to read most of the stuff, but I will say this game is like a book. I say it is like playing a book with XCOM battles in between chapters. The more you like 40k and the more you like 40k lore and the writing and everything, like the more you will like the game. Hey Momo, what are you doing? This cat. It's getting scritches down here. We enter the station's orbit, Lord Captain, awaiting a signal from the temple. We offer our thanks to the Omnissiah for the intersection of the events of the margin of error within the confidence interval. In the infinite branches of the future, the outcome will be marked as favorable. I am Tetria Lemma, Logis of the Alter Templum Calixtus Extension 17, and I appeal to the Rogue Trader for sacred knowledge. What is the fate of the miraculous fusion reactor from Rycad Menorahs? Why the sudden interest in the reactor? The Omnissiah knows all, comprehends all. Acquisition of knowledge of the blessed archaeotech corrects all prior probability and increases the accuracy of predicting gracious events. First, I want to know if you can fix my throne. Undoubtedly, the restoration of reliquary archaeotech is a sacred and inviolable duty of any servant of the machine god. But before this action, I initiate a new iteration of the appeal. What is the fate of the miraculous fusion reactor? I removed it from the planet. Omnissiah's blessings, let us rejoice, for the probability in which the archaeotech was lost has passed. This outcome is recognized as most favorable, transmitting a proposal for Cooperation Pact TR2, in accordance with which possession of the sacred archaeotech will pass to Alter Templum. What do you want with it? The knowledge of the ancients is undeniable. The scenario of voluntary transfer to our cloister is recognized as the least labor-intensive. The probability of preserving its usefulness on our hands approaches 1. What are you doing? Kitty cat. Settle down. I reread the same page about 15 times until I fall asleep. I mean, that's fair. I mostly read books before bed, but... I don't know, man. I love Warhammer books. I get a big kick out of them. They're very pulpy. You know, you can read one chapter and be like, that's good. Mona the Rogue is here to trade. You want to say hi? Hey. What are you doing?
You hanging out getting scritches? You got hiccups?
Mona the throat punch. It's been so long since I've been punched in the throat by her. Good to know. 70% through Necropolis. Oh, that one's so good. I think that's... I mean, I've only read like the first Gonskos Omnibus, but Necropolis is a very solid read, I thought. I like that one. It's all about like a siege of a hive city. And it really gives you... really lets you like feel what the hive cities are like. I'm not going to give these guys the reactor. This probability was calculated but deemed undesirable. In gratitude to the extension of your knowledge, they are prepared to perform grade 3 binaric rights over the machine spirits of your vessel. Genitor Extremis, Eogun Ferbrus, a manipulator who has received the benediction, will be sent to embark on your ship immediately. I may be so bold as to point out that this learned man possesses a rare combination of skills, almost certainly proficient in the creation of blessed augments. This is a true boon for your plague ship and you personally. Abelard lets out a grumble, all the more peculiar then that the Admech would so readily hand over one of their invaluable brethren. It's unlikely that such generosity is motivated solely by magnanimity. I wonder if this guy just sucks. Like, they're like, ah, we just want to get rid of him. Ooh. Big Tech Daddy. This dude's making Pascal look like a chump. He a thick boy. Raising his hand, the tech priest snaps his hand closed, and the sparks of motive force vanish, almost as if he's caused them in his fist. A corpulent man with a metal abdomen and a bulky carapace hovers above the deck like a large crimson beetle. A mature face sits beneath an angular black cap for a servant of the Admech. His visage retains a surprising proportion of organic material, and set in a dense beard of cables and pistons.
A wise man once said that a machine spirit cannot be looked upon. And he was right. For the Omnissiah, in his infinite wisdom, has concealed his creation even from the gaze of his most devoted servants.
His little feet are sticking out?
But can the believer come to know the nature of a machine only through an eye of organics or steel? No. For the vapor that brings forth the scent of sacred unguents is the spirit's breath. The rumbling of joints and rods is the beating of its heart, and the motive force is the current of its blood.
There's more DLC coming in Q3. I guess we might be doing a full run later. A servo skull hovering nearby stares silently at the priest.
You are correct, Nuncius. I risk boring the rogue trader with my protracted ruminations. However, I will not allow the semantic analysis of my utterance to go unanswered. I will log your thesis for further debate. Now it is time to make my obeisance.
I'll be honest, I didn't even understand what he said. Can the believer come to know the nature of a machine through the eye of organics or steel? No. Okay, so he's just saying, like, nobody can really understand the motive force.
Rogue trader, your halls are filled with sacred metal, and the ship's tech priests must be commended in observing the sacraments of augmentation. That blessed union of flesh and feather.
I like this guy's voice actor.
Beholding this charges my galvanic coils with exultation. I, Genitor Extremis Eogun Febris, greet you. And thank you for the opportunity to grace these ancient mechanisms with the gift of operation.
Genitor is a tech priest who has chosen Medicae biology as their field of scientific research. They account for a large portion of the Admech, and they hold great sway in determining the policies of the cult. They're distinguished from other brethren in their fate by their keen research interest in various forms of organic life. Pascal's Vox emits a binaric trill, solemn and oppressive. Confirmed the sacrament for the tech relic maintenance has been performed correctly. Protocol for exchange of sacred regalia initiated. Registering the affiliation of the Blessed Tech unit to the clergy of the Forge World Stygius 8. A scarlet spark flickers in the blue optical augment, almost as if Pascal has narrowed his eyes in suspicion. Requesting confirmation of the unit's familiarity with the standards of the Catechism of Maintenance and Safety in effect on this vessel.
It is my pleasure to confirm the protocol for the exchange of sacred regalia and greet my brother in ministry. The vows taken in this temple are known to me, and I promise to honor them. I request a meeting with my esteemed colleague to facilitate knowledge exchange and to discuss values.
Who is this wise man who theorized on the nature of machine spirit? I could be interested to read his work.
Junior Lex Mechanic Karain, operator of Auxiliary Terminal 289-0 of the lower workshops of Alta Templum Calixus X-17. A pragmatist and a bureaucrat who saw the world solely through the prism of statistics, endless parades of outflows and inflows. He had little interest in anything other than keeping track of valves and vents, but now and then he would drop pearls of wisdom such as these without even noticing it himself. I felt it was my duty to pick them up.
Is his hand... Oh no, he has like a little screen in front of him coming out. Dude. Belly so big, you've just got like an iPhone dock built into it. To be an admech. This has been my life as of late. People putting words into sentences and the sentence meaning nothing. Business jargon. Yeah, that's pretty admech. Can you produce energy?
Excellent observation. My technical designation is manipulous. And here is the galvanic cell, the repository of the motive force. It... no, that will take too long. Better to give a demonstration. Observe.
Pascal only gets one gun.
Questions?
Intriguing. Your galvanic cell not only stores energy, but also redistributes it to wherever you direct it, and you power it seemingly by drawing energy from other sources. I mean, we succeeded in this tech track because of Pascal.
Correct. Entirely correct. How rarely do I meet such astute interlocutors among the laity.
I did want to yell at him, but...
I respectfully initiate a request for an audience. I must discover what other gems of knowledge are hiding within your rich mind.
You're a gender extremist. What does that mean?
It is my creed, the incontrovertible fact that has defined my existence for as long as I can recall. And I recall a great deal. I have devoted myself to the mysteries of flesh and metal, to the processes by which one joins with the other, by which they live in union, and how they die. I am intimately familiar with machines, such as the one that I restored to life. I will school the members of the priesthood on board in its litanies of maintenance and operation, and reveal the secrets of the command rooms so they may operate it themselves.
This guy doesn't seem heretical, so I'm curious what he's hiding, you know? Season 2 has 2 DLCs. Museum's the first of the 2. Okay, right. There's a Manipulus and Tacticus? Yeah, Actus.
The sacrament of Ferrum
No one off the top of my head
will be made available to you and your retinue. That, too, is an incontrovertible fact.
He's basically the healer in Tacticus. You speak to your servo skull.
Nuncius is my dearest colleague. His eagerness, inquisitive mind, and ability to view a problem from a variety of angles are invaluable to our research. He is also rather loquacious himself.
Nice. Yeah, no, I've played a lot of Tacticus. It is my phone. It's like the only game I keep on my phone because I'm just like, I can't play any others, and I played too much of that one already. So, Nuncius does not make a sound, directing his visor somewhere past you. Registering a violation, the tech unit Nuncius is ignoring a request for engagement, recommending that the unit's labor be allocated to repair tasks.
Declined with gratitude and due reverence. The tech unit Nuncius is designated as a personal instrument of the quest for the divine, which confers the privilege of privacy.
Oh.
That includes privacy from intrusion by entities of equal standing.
Nerd. I am. Or this guy. For an instant, crimson engulfs the blue of Pascal's visors. A disgruntled rasp trickles from his vox. Status confirmed. Rejection of request acknowledged as valid. He's quite a gabbler, all right. Maybe the cog-bellied master hears voices in his head, too. I'm sure my friends from beyond the door would love to get together with them sometime. A servo skull is your colleague? Right, then I'll take a data slate for my adjutant. Classic Abelard. The blood-spun web also speaks to its departed brothers and sisters, but the answer we receive is the silence granted by the Undying One. Eogun, you didn't actually dare to create an abominable intelligence, did you?
Do you think I would dare walk about with an anathema? A profane parody
okay with
of
it,
the
man.
human mind? The greatest heresy against the Omnissiah? What an absurd idea.
So that's a yes.
I honor the Crimson Accord.
That's a
of
yes.
Mars
He didn't say
and
no.
Swear before the all-knowing, all-seeing
Cog-bellied.
machine god
Big
that
time.
Nuncius is no spawn of tech heresy. If I lie, then let me be struck down by the electromagnetic pulse of his wrath, and let the motive force desert my limbs forever and ever. Nuncius is an incredibly sophisticated creation of sacred algorithms interlaced with my own. It is difficult for a layperson to grasp their inner workings, yet not a single one violates the commandments of the Omnissiah.
Nuncius, I welcome you on board my vessel. If the servo skull has hired you, it makes no sign of it.
Amazing sincerity, Nuncius. It is gratifying to see that you have not lost your sense of tact over the years.
Yes, indeed. Abelard, you could learn a thing or two from this servo skull. The seneschal clears his throat, looking bemused. I shall bear in mind Master Nuncio's eloquence. All right, thanks for your help. Where are you going
Your
next?
thanks are accepted, but my service is not yet at an end. The clergy of the Alter Templum Calixtus X17 Cloister, in gratitude for the tidings of the sacred Archaeotech, request that you be attended by Magos Eogun Febris and the unit Nuncius. I seek your leave to employ our skills and knowledge for the benefit of the Von Valancius dynasty, including but not limited to tending to the machine spirits of the Sector Bionica and conducting experiments in the name of knowledge.
Why?
In other words, allow Nuncius and I to remain on the ship and accompany you. We are well versed in augmetics, genetics, alchemy, the anatomy of humans, and abominable xenos alike, and the mysteries of the motive force and of sacred engineering. These fields of knowledge may also be employed to eliminate units whose views are not conducive to productive debate.
Now, why do you wish to do this?
It is my sacred duty to stand vigil to ensure the faithful operation of the technology I restored. Beyond that, Alter Templum Calixtus X17 is an enclosed community.
Random
Many
lightning.
wisdoms can be found within its walls.
Get it, you're a know-it-all,
but I
yeah.
seem to have exhausted their supply.
Ah.
Theory lays the foundation for exploration, but only practice can open the gates of knowledge. Nuncius and I have always been practitioners, first and foremost.
So he's learned everything there is to learn there. Yeah. What would happen to the throne if I turned you
I
away?
have already transferred the basic right of operation to a qualified contingent in the Sector Bionica.
Just out of curiosity.
If you refuse us, Nuncius and I will linger just long enough to pass on the rest of our knowledge, after which we will disembark. The augmentation procedures can be performed without my participation.
Well, welcome aboard.
Skepticism is undeniably one of the instruments of knowledge, dearest colleague. It guards us against many heresies, preventing ego and vanity from clouding reason on the path of service. But as you see, Nuncius, it is not justified in every circumstance. Rogue trader, Nuncius states that you are a person of rare perspicacity and prudence. I record
Perspicacity?
this as an incontrovertible fact, and thank you for your hospitality. But of course, I did not come empty-handed. I would like to present you with this augment. Now that
More
the machine
herbs.
spirit of the implantation throne is awake, I can bestow its blessing upon you or one of your retinue, should the rogue trader will it.
Couple gains force couple enemy and force couple ally. Allows the user to attack the target with a melee weapon if they have one equipped after the pull. If the user has 2 weapons equipped, they attack with both of them but deal less damage. Oh no, I have to give you 40 levels. So, traditionally, in our storyline, we sacrificed Marzahai to Slanesh. So I'm just going to kick him out of the team and put in Eogan for now. He didn't even say anything in this interaction. So I guess because we're not technically meant to have him yet.
Blessed augmetics can replace and enhance vision, motor function, and endurance. Alas, they cannot cure incompetence.
Yeah, so he is heretical. He's heretical and iconoclast. Mona, what's going on? You coming up? I don't want you just clawing at my pants. This cat, I tell you. She's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Why are you doing that? What kind of stuff does this guy get? He is... What is he, an officer? He is an officer. Bring it down. Toughness. Voice of command. Officer grants extra turns. Half the bonuses grant lasts until the end of combat. Int-based logic. Whenever you use voice of command, it costs less. Air of authority. Tech use. Resolve tech use. Extra turn granted does extra 12% damage. Ballistic skill, logic, ballistic skill. Air of authority grants momentum. Take aim. Medicae. Bonus to perception and ballistic skill. Fellowship. Forge word characters can use persuasion, coercion, and commerce based on int instead of fellowship. Why would you get that and fellowship on the same level? 60 int, 40 ballistic skill, 40 fellowship, really low willpower. Good logic. So he's an officer. You're an operative. You're a blade dancer. You're an operative. You're a warrior. I'm an officer. I'm an officer? I'm an officer. But, I mean, really, I'm a psyker. Bounty hunter. We both went overseer. Funny enough, I think he would be the same build as I am. I think he would be a Servo Skull Swarm officer. But, given everything, I'd probably make him a Grand Strategist or a Master Tactician. He has Plasma Weapon Expert, Melta Weapon Proficiency, Torpedo Control, Arc Augury. This creature gets Deflection, Armor, suffers reduction to Dodge. He's from a Forge World. Grants Toughness, Armor, Agility, Dodge, and Int bonus hit. Bonus criticals. In the Tech Priest's abdomen resides a galvanic battery, a reservoir for the motive force that grants life to all machines. The Manipulus's mechadendrites channel the sacred energy, empowering allies and punishing foes. For every AP spent, Aragon gains a stack of potential energy. These stacks are used to activate the galvanic field. Each stack increases all energy and shock damage. Cool. Arrogant grants the effects of Galvanic Field to an ally within int bonus cells. That ally becomes immune to his attacks. Some types will ricochet to random enemies. So he's all about like the arc rifles, I think. Egan selects the main target in 2 cells with a 4-cell radius around it. All creatures in these cells between them become the main target. Unleash an energy bolt dealing 20 shock damage with 17 armor pen to the main target. Then lightning bolt from the main target to additional targets. Cool. Cool, cool, cool. So his weapons must be... He's got a plasma gun. Oh, this is just like... That's like his galvanic ability. That's his Meg Rail rifle. Cool. VA for this guy is fantastic. Yeah. I duly confer. So what is very funny is we are so at the end of the game that we can be like, let's just give you some better guns. 2 or more plasma overheating does fire damage. I mean, I feel like instead of a plasma gun, he should have like one of those arc rifles. What does Pascal have right now? Pascal is set up to be a... yeah, ancient plasma rifle. So he is like a plasma sniper. As well, a pattern arc rifle. Mars pattern plasma gun. This is what happens when you're this late in the game. And you're just like, ah, yes. I have a million items. That's correct. From newest to oldest. At least that's a good way to figure out what's of value. Omniscience Providence. Target of this attack suffer the effects of exposed weakness. All energy damage dealt to the target is increased by 18% until the end of combat. Grams a 15 bonus to weapon skills. Axes have an inflict bleeding attack. Yeah, I mean, that feels correct. We have like web launchers, emergency drills. This guy has really high toughness. Well, actually, no, he doesn't really. I feel like he could have really high armor, though. So I do wonder about like what kind of nonsense we could get up to with him. Unfortunately, this is really the only arc rifle I have. And compared to this Ragefire plasma gun, I don't think he can also use a Melta. So were I to have a decent Melta to give him, which I don't appear to. I have flamers, but they're all like Astartes flamers. All right, well, what odds? He cannot equip any armor that we have. Five bonus to fellowship. Increases resolve by 1. Okay. Machine Spirit Communion. Enhanced Data Tether Mask. If worn by an Overseer, the wearer can use Overcharge multiple times. You're not an Overseer right now. Joint Analysis ability. No, you don't have that. Target's armor is reduced. Break their ranks. Willpower tests. Whenever that target suffers 3 or more enemies with 1 attack, that target suffers 0 int bonus armor until the end of combat. I mean, that's pretty good for you. I feel like I don't need to panic too much about this because I feel like whatever's at the top here is probably what I want to be using on this guy. First Melta weapon reload costs 0. First Melta weapon attack in combat does not count towards the attack limit per turn. Press the advantage. Shield swing. Hit enemies in melee range. Dots. These are gloves. Dodge penalty of the wearer's armor is reduced by 10%. Bleh. Can use ranged weapons in melee combat. I mean, that's pretty good for you. This feels okay. Giving Duke Harkonnen since he is floating. Yeah, you can see his little, like, feeder sticking out and everything, too. He's pretty funny. Push the target. Coercion, Xenos lore. Whenever they end their turn, they deal 18 energy damage with 60 armor pen to all adjacent creatures. Whereas Melt-A-Weapon attacks cost -1 and Melt-A-Weapon range is increased by +2 cells. If I gave this guy a Melta, he could be business. Currently, Abelard has a Melta. Oh, he has like the line Melta is why. Bayonet, Chainwave, blah, 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 blah. Bonus to coercion. 25 to Medicaid could be good on you. Commerce, persuasion. All right, I think we're probably okay on this right now. We got a lot of weird items, so... Grab some medkits. And... Wow, I have a just shocking lack of grenades. I never thought that would be the case. But sure, let's do that.
My ascension has only just begun. Okay.
Augment installation directly modifies the character's body. In contrast to equipping gear, installing an augment is permanent. Augment cannot be unequipped and can only be replaced with another augment. If removed, it is replaced with a basic augment. The original body part cannot be restored. There are several ways to install an augment. You could use the implementation throne, speak to the High Factorum on the ship's bridge, or open the aug panel in the rightmost part of the Koronus Expanse map. To install an augment, drag it into the corresponding thing and click install. Traumas and negative effects. Each augment provides unique active and passive bonuses, but always applies an unavoidable negative effect. When the character suffers a trauma to the corresponding body part, the installed augment malfunctions. If positive passive effects are disabled until the trauma is healed, its negative effects remain. Installing augments inflicts a stack of the Ferrum Sanctum effect. For each augment installed, the character suffers 15% more shock damage from arc grenades and other effects that electrocute the target. I noticed that Abelard had one of this. You have 6 aug slots, 1 optical, 1 cortical, 1 somatic in the torso, 2 arms, and 1 musculoskeletal in the legs. Some companions possess unique augments that can be replaced, but other characters cannot install them. Cassia, the Space Marine companions, and Xenos cannot install augments. Use the character to target enemy with a melee weapon. I mean, that's you. So you have the Seneschal's Monocular. Deals 5 more damage for each ally still in combat with a 3-cell radius around him. He deals 10% less damage if at the start of his turn there are no allied characters in his line of sight. Weapon skill is reduced by 10%. That's a terrible negative effect. This user's weapon skills and ballistic skills are reduced by 5%. I don't know that I want any of these on us, dudes. Does anybody else have stuff? You have a gray hood. Whenever Perils of the Warp are triggered because of Adira's actions, there's a 65% chance they're not triggered. That sucks. That's my whole Adira build. Wow, you got a lot of scars on you, missus. No surprise, Pascal has like a gajillion things. Machine Spirit Banishment ability. Suffers 25% more energy damage. Neural agony probe. Allows Pascal to set this augment in order to galvanize its ability in combat. All allied characters gain this effect at the start of the ally's turn. Cells are also highlighted for them. When an ally stands on those cells, it's affected by the probe. At the start of Pascal's turn, 4 cells within an 8-cell radius around him are highlighted. While Pascal stands on one of those cells, he's affected by the neural agony probe. The first attack he makes while standing on each of those cells does not count towards the attack limit per turn. Pascal cannot suffer from broken ribs. When he's not on a highlighted cell, he's affected by severed interface. What else do you have? Machine Spirit Communion, tech use increased by 13. When you're shocked for the first time in combat, the damage is increased by 100. Forge World characters gain 18% critical hit chance. Yeah, you can't have that one. This guy gains potential energy stacks, galvanic field, critical hit. Armor is increased by 20%. His deflection increased by 2, but he can't equip armor. And you have a Magna-Rail Lance. You cannot suffer a crippled right arm. Cool, man. Our cop's got Master Link visors, which give him different bonuses based on the Cyber Mastiff. But he takes penalties if he does not see his puppy. Sorry, he's also got an arm insert. Forceful Pledge. Pass an agility resistance with a 70 penalty or becomes immobilized and is considered full cover for Solomon. Huh. Jay has a robotic arm. She has the Served Cold ability. Damage dealt by this ability and its armor penetration are increased by 36 for each extra turn granted to Jay to an ally before using this ability. Extra turns are counted starting with the last use of this ability. The damage dealt by this ability cannot be dodged or parried. Whoa. And a cervical node. Some might say it's foolish to spend a fortune on a mere neck implant. Jay would counter that by wearing a mere neck implant while being the Princess of Afrida, simply beneath her dignity. Negative effects. This implant functions flawlessly. Okay. Interesting. Oh my god, I forgot about all of our chaos stats. So funny. I have to actually see who does Medicaid. Abelard does. Does Pascal? Oh, Cabela does. I mean,
I am your shadow.
that is kind of like your best perk other than demolition. Remote Revitalization Officer. The thing is like she doesn't really use the Medicaid because she just like destroys things. This guy doesn't. I'm gonna give this to you. I feel like this was made for you. Use the key below an insertion to set an augment. Correct arm. Oh my god, yeah, this is literally just like a hook blade. The hook blade is both a hook and a blade. Alright. This augment is embedded. Oh, it clips through his shield. Oh well. He still looks dope.
Time to leave my mark upon the galaxy. Powers unseen cover my path.
I feel like we should give our guys some levels, but I'm also like that might take too much time. So if we do this as a two-parter, I might just do it in between streams. Let's explore. See what else pops up here. Need to install a mod for Cabela's here. Can't have this. I have 9 warp things. It's really funny because I could just be like, teleport me to the edge of the map. So the real question now is, how do I unlock the Infinite Museion? Yes! The comm bead in your ear comes to life with a crackle. Lord Captain, following the rites of healing performed by the esteemed Manipulus Febris and upon the implementation throne in the Sector Bionica, the machine spirits dwelling within the relic revealed something extraordinary to us. Upon awakening, the sacred archaeotech brought several more machines back to wakefulness. After performing diagnostic rituals, the tech priests discovered a secret door behind one of the devices. It was inscribed with an ancient Von Valancian's coat of arms. As soon as the tech priest tried to enter, a genetic guardian blocked the way. It refused to open the door to anyone but rogue trader Siberian Von Valancius or his heir. What do we know about this Siberian? Therein lies the problem, your lordship. No rogue trader by the name of Siberian is listed in the dynastic chronicle. The historians of the flagship are also unfamiliar with the name. Why the guardian thinks it belongs to an owner that never existed is a mystery, and only you, as the actual head of the dynasty, can find the answer. Let's go, baby. I think I might have to level this guy up now, because I'm realizing any kind of combat encounter or skill check.
Esteemed colleague.
Let's see if I can do this in under 5 minutes. I'll go Grand Strategist. I'm gonna go like, let's just go like Kill Zone. All of his things are based on like ballistic skill, right? Bonuses increased by 5% if the area was not moved for 2 rounds. Take and hold. AP increase. We'll go int. Yeah, you know what, man? I'm gonna give him like pretty basic stuff right now. Whatever is kind of recommended. I can mess around with this afterwards. Lower Imperium? I don't really feel like that's you. I feel like you're gonna have to maybe be my Lord Xenos guy. We just lost Master High. 104, 105, 96. Yeah, I'm gonna give you Lord Xenos. Take Fellowship. Pinnacle of Weaponry scales based off of intelligence, so that would probably be good. But he has all these special manipulous abilities. These I actually do want to look at. Eogun can target enemies with Bring It Down. In this case, his resolve is reduced by 100% by 1 round. Target immediately attacks the closest creature, then suffers -10 to all characteristics. Becomes stunned unless it's a powerful enemy. Isn't Bring It Down a officer ability? Yeah. That's interesting. He gains 1 AP if he has 7 stacks of potential energy. Whenever an enemy attacks an ally affected by galvanic field, they suffer shock damage. Tech use divided by 3. Ooh, okay. Transonic cannon. Do I have this? Creature suffering for burning. Suffer more shock damage until the end of cannon. Magnarail Lance, shocker damage increased by 32%. That would be good as well. 2 stacks of potential energy. 20% block. Can target himself. He does not gain AP. Can make an additional attack. Repair Mechadendrite, charge distribution, galvanic gate Mechadendrite, defend the divine work. All right, let's say Magnarail, Crossfire, Fellowship, Xenos, Weapon Skill and Ballistic, Diversion Zone, Fellowship, Ballistic Skill, Xenos, Overwhelming Strategy. No? What do we have down here? Charge Distribution. Electrified strikes to himself and an ally, allowing the target to deal additional shock damage. Defend the Divine Work. Blessing of the Omnisaya to himself or an ally. Armor is increased by int bonus. And damages deals is increased by armor. Galvanic Gate Mechadendrite. For 1 round, EOG increase an energy wall that occupies 7 straight line tiles. Ranged attacks made by him through this area deal an additional 9 shock damage and have armor pen. Oh, man. With that Melta, the focused Melta that Abelard has right now, that could be insane. That would basically turn the Melta into a shock Melta. Well, I'm just going to get that for now, if that's the case. We'll go Lost Energy. We'll go Lord Xenos. I know he also scaled off of tech use, which I probably should be doing, but toughness. Well, I guess let's get weapon skills so that rounds. Take adjusting front line. Allies that move through cells occupied by the energy wall gain 5 movement points. Enemies that pass through suffer shock damage. Okay. And Exemplar. This becomes way more complicated to do. Know it all. Int bonus. Take it. We'll do shock damage. I'll go Xenoslorp. Plasma Welter Power. We'll take that. We'll take Int. We'll take block against range. Blessing of the Omnisaya for Abelard. We'll take more Xenoslore. Oh, it's like endless. Leveling up 40 times is so much, man. Bonus to your officer abilities. Upgrade the Machine God's protection to take more int. I don't know. I guess 2 stacks of potential energy. Repair Mechadendrite, sure. We'll take Fellowship. One of these scales off of Repair Mechadendrite. The Speed of Thought. We'll grab whatever that one was. We'll grab Tech Use. Extra turn grants movement points. Target gains additional movement points if AP. The target gains additional AP. So that's upping your officer abilities. AP increase. Okay, there's all these other things in here as well. But I think I'm just gonna keep giving you your weird stuff specials. Give you every manipulous ability. Int, I guess Fellowship is next. I guess Ballistic Skill after that. Tech use. Toughness, no. Resistance tests, light armor. Technically, he doesn't wear any armor, but dodge is not really his thing. Oh, boy, there's so much in here. Sarek, thank you so much, dude. F.A. Imperator. Cataclysm would be good for him. We'll take Persistence of the Forge. We'll take Fires of the Forge. Logic. Xenos. I don't know, man. Medicaid. Let's go. And that's how you speed through that. How long did that take? You don't even have time to learn the new moves or anything because you've never played that character.
I am not afraid to embrace the revelations that make others shriek and cover. That is the difference between me and ignorant filth.
What do we got here? Secrets? The High Factorum, Churgeon, Meritnax, and Genitor Ferens are already waiting for you by the mysterious door. The wall behind them looks perfectly flat, only the metal coat of arms gleaming in the light and the steady glow in the Genetic Guardian's impassive lenses reveal the Dynasty's secrets lie behind this wall. The Guardian of the room looks far less menacing than the gargoyle and guards that entrance the warrant chamber. This is just a recess in the wall framed in metal with an analyzer needle and a small vid screen. Lines of mechanically indifferent text appear on the screen. Access is forbidden. Entry authorized only for Siberian von Valancius. Lower Imperium. Examine the coat of arms on the wall. Egan is apparently my best Imperium, guys, so... Heraldic symbols cast in noble bronze are undoubtedly von Valancius. You struggle to discern anything unusual in them. Answer me, Spirit. Who is Siberian? The request is invalid. Entry is authorized only for Siberian or his direct descendants. Command you to open this door. Genetic confirmation required. Put your hand in the recess. Identification passed. Welcome, member of the von Valancius dynasty. Incredible. Generations of Churgeons have toiled away here, utterly unaware. Ferens lets out a shocked exclamation in Technolinguist, which shifts to a sharp binaric screech. Embarrassed by his outburst, he bashfully steps aside, making way for you. Be careful, Lord Captain. Dynastic secrets can be more than a little dangerous. You found the secret study. Ba 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 ba.
Intriguing.
Secret chamber bears no resemblance to Sector Bionica. Feels like someone's private study. Pascal, open that chest.
My success is an irrefutable search.
Jump maneuver. Upon landing, there's a 5 times the number of stacks chance that the user falls prone and deals shock damage to all adjacent creatures. I don't know if that's good or bad. Despite the stale air in the small chamber, the richly jeweled display case looks as if it's been meticulously maintained all this time. There's not a single mote of dust on the clear, gleaming glass. The chair, luxuriously upholstered in natural velvet, is clearly the work of a highly skilled craftsman. It's worth a fortune. That guy is wielding an Eldari blade. What a handsome jack, though. A figure in grand attire stares down at you from the portrait with an air of regal superiority. The insignia embellishing his lavish cloak leaves no room for doubt this is a rogue trader of bygone days. His right hand rests on the hilt of an exquisite blade, and the roguish half-smile radiates majestic condensation. Siberian von Valancius Massimo of Koronus, rogue trader of the Imperium and guiding light of his dynasty. You're a forgotten legend, old man, but the Koronus Expanse will not forget me so quickly, I assure you. You know you speak the truth. You begin to think that the man in the portrait is looking back at you with faith in his eyes. Study the details of the portrait. It's hard to argue with the simple truth. The subject of the portrait was an extremely good-looking individual, not only of his meticulously painted scars, which the rogue trader bore like medals of military valor, could spoil his noble beauty. Yeah, he's pretty handsome. Look at the weapon. No doubt about the weapon's origin, the sword depicted in the unknown artist's brush was not forged by human hands. The fluid curves, exceptional luster of the blade, and the gem at the hilt show the weapon to be the work of an Eldari artisan. The blade is indeed unusual for the runes engraved along its length, and they are most ancient indeed. The inscription is in Eldari, recounting the legend of an unholy god of war revered by the Xenos. In the background, your eye is drawn to the head of a predatory creature. Its beastly face, distorted in mortal rage, is vaguely familiar. Its gaze, too intelligent for a dead thing, fixed on something very specific outside the painting. And the face? Chiseled features, dark brows, and a gaze full of inner strength. You notice the finely worked furrows of stubbornness on his forehead and at the corners of his mouth. The artist strove to capture the complex character of a strong-willed man and seems to have done a superlative job. You cut a fine figure? The portrait remains silent, perhaps because, despite the vividness of the person depicted, it is still an object that's been hanging on the wall for centuries. Burn the portrait? No. Dan Rock, I found a portrait. I wish for it to be rehung in my chambers. I will arrange everything at once, Lord Captain. Kind of thought maybe if I did that, I'd find something behind it.
Watch out.
Secret goods. Relic augment. Users' attacks with a weapon in this hand inflict levels of toxin and toxic saturation. That would be really good for Marazai, but he is a Xeno, so can't use augments. The cover of the book is coated with a thick layer of dust. Sprayed edges have a warped and mirrored with decay. Writing implements lie in disarray on an auto quill, an ornately shaped inkwell, and a paperweight, as if the diarist had made the last entry before leaving their secret study in haste. I'm really curious how much of the main campaign and all the existing stories now have augments scattered throughout them as loot as well. Like whether or not they went back and did that, or if it's only like the new locations have augments. Because obviously there's so many more playstyles that open up with these augments. So... dust off the cover. A sturdy, well-crafted leather, expensive embossing, hardly faded with the effects of time. Von Valanci's coat of arms stamped on with an embellished and large gems. The book is covered in scratches and scuffs as if the book has survived more than a few adventures. The name Siberian Von Valanci's is written in florid scripts, a personal diary. First few pages are cramped with writing, along with blots crossed out and sweeping underlines that reveals the owner's passionate nature. The ink is as faded and decayed as the pages themselves, the parchment crumbling to dust at any careless touch. In the middle, all I can be certain of is the portion of my designs that most of my retinue would consider overly bold will not leave the confines of these chambers. It is rather amusing that this personal laboratory has ultimately become a secret sanctuary to whose walls I can tell my most ideas and research. At times, I sense that the esteemed Exalt 117 is entirely aware of its existence, but the Archmagus has always possessed the rare combination of human qualities, a sense of tact coupled with the ability to keep others' secrets. The next page of the diary's been ripped out. The last page. The siege is over. It takes more than a single battle won to snuff the flames of war. They're showering me with their artless praise, yet lauding me as the savior of the dynasty. I cannot shake the thought that it may not be the hand that signed its death warrant. What if the artifact in front of me now is not enough? Yet the place I found this relic may still hold more. The God Emperor willing, I shall find them. No one must know about the cluster I discovered. No one must interfere in my search. I will order Ambrosio not to record the warp routes in the archives of the house, and should I fail, then perhaps my descendants might finish what I started. The dynasty's private cogitator on Dargonis seems ancient and loyal enough for me to entrust it with the coordinates. The access identifier is Laria. This will open the secret areas of the machine spirit's memory. I hope I will be the one who reads this journal upon my return, and I hope I will destroy this evidence in my inexcusable faintness of heart. The remaining pages are utterly untouched. The cogitator in the palace mentioned the last entry can tell you more. Ba 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 ba. I guess that's where the Infinite Museion might be. Slowly walking on out. Having two tech priests is really funny. Your lordship, has the search been successful? Have you learned anything about the fate of the mysterious Siberian? I found the portrait of a nobleman. What gave you the notion the blade was depicted more than a ceremonial weapon? The unnamed subject of the portrait somehow obtained an Eldari ritual sword decorated with religious writings. It would be a pleasure to possess such a thing. Heretical! I see, a strong indicator that the blade's wielder was the most distinguished individual. Even among rogue traders, not everyone can afford to possess such an item. It must be a genuine portrait. He was rather handsome and sumptuously dressed. This sheds no light on who he really was. All right, enough about the sword. I found a handwritten diary. One can learn a great deal. What did the diary tell you? Reference to a certain cogitator in Dargonus, as well as the data key. Talks of the siege of Dargonus, but such a historical event is not in the chronicles. I've studied the history of the dynasty in enough detail to recall all the major battles of the last millennium. None took place in the capital world. The secret chamber was a sanctuary and laboratory. I believe Imperium was overly interested in radical ideas. The fact that there's no mention of him that survives in the official histories must be something dark and nefarious behind all this. All right, nothing more has survived. Your thoughts? I imagine that Siberian was a man of remarkable talents and extraordinary destiny. I regret I was fated never to see him in the flesh. The life form Ferens is extremely disturbed by the discovered addition to the genealogical tree of the von Valancius. I request permission to make the appropriate changes to the archives. Siberius was indeed the one erased from the official chronicles. I wonder what deed prompted such a step. I do hope that when the machine spirit of the ancient cogitator sheds light on this, we will not have to consign what we learned to oblivion as well. All right, let's boogie.
The world will bow.
We got a path. We got a plan. We got a place to go. I want to find me some Necrons. I want to find me some museums. I just want to see what the Infinite Museum looks like, because I have a vision in my mind of what it looks like from reading the books. Mundus Valancius, I believe, is where we're going. Yavagama colony requires the Lord Captain's attention. Oh, my presence is required. Really? I must say, I find that surprising. We'll have to head there after. Vox transmission from Sector Bionica. As you know, there are no unsolvable dilemmas, only poorly formulated questions. You strike me as someone who knows how to ask the right questions, so I would like you to invite you to participate in my scientific research. Will you honor me with your presence in the Sector Bionica? I would like to know more. I am interested more in your philosophical outlook rather than your practical skills. I do not doubt the extent of your knowledge, but I myself will handle the technical aspects of the process. If you want to know about my focus and objectives, the research is dedicated to the extension and optimization of the vital process that occurs in organic flesh. Key to this endeavor will be deriving a formula to quantify righteousness. All right. Sidetrack. A game of getting sidetracked. On the operating table, several bodies are laid out, their mutilations exposed to the chill air. The chest and abominable cavities yawn wide, excavated by their augmented organs, which nestle in flasks, still connected to the bodies by tubes and cables. Judging by the rhythmic contractions, the organs are still functioning. Iagan hovers beside the table, assiduously taking measurement and jabbing mechadendrites into the extracted organs or inside the bodies. Nuncius keeps stoic vigil nearby, an impassible observer of this grotesque spectacle. Let's take a closer look at the bodies. Each one has had the top of his skull removed. Electrodes are now attached to them. Below the neck is a gaping wound. Young man, an old man, and a regular man. Interesting. The pathologically emaciated build and spindly, almost transparent limbs indicate that this young man is a voidborn. A glance into the open ribcage reveals signs of damage. The sac around the heart torn. The vessels have been reinforced with metal staples. The poorly-used heart is half augment. Both ventricles have been replaced by pumps, which are connected to opaque tubes that run to the Medicaid's reservoir. The young man's neck is tattooed with his bay coat and job title. He's a common worker. The normal man is a well-developed, muscular, and strong bones, presents a stark contrast to the others. His left arm is missing along with part of his shoulder. Shreds of major vessels protrude from the neatly trimmed stump. They've been closed off with bizarre-looking end caps wired to a metal arm laying nearby. The Enforcer's emblem is tattooed on the man's neck, topped with the Von Valancius coat of arms. The old man's eyelids are closed and his face serene. He might appear to be sleeping peacefully, were it not for the deathly pallor of his face. and the monstrously mangled neck. He had been fitted with a voice implant at some point previously, but had been wrenched from his unfortunate body. Every so often, the metal hose, now serving as his trachea, emits a whistling sound. He's clutching something tightly in his right hand, an ornate set of prayer beads, the kind used by ordained servants of the ecclesiarchy. Nuncius, shed some light on these experiments, would you? Nuncius obediently turns on his built-in lumen, illuminating the subjects on the table. It seems he's unwilling to divulge the subtleties of the experiment, silently ceding the right to answer to Eogun. I love this. I love whenever you could ask someone that you just know is not going to give you the answer. The Manipulus's massive bulk spins around to face you, his eyes dancing with excitement. Rogue Trader, your arrival has triggered a cascade of impulses in the prefrontal cortex of my brain. Delight, that's the word I've been searching for. Cast off your worries. The subjects of this experiment have been preserved through a combination of alchemical compounds, local transactions of the motive force, and moderately invasive augmentation procedures. In other words, all three are very much alive. Throughout the speech, he continues manipulating their bodies with his mechadendrites. The crux, all three organisms were found in critical condition. I asked myself, is their usefulness and productive capacity truly at an end? Nonsense. To move from the state of being to a state of non-being entails no benefits of meeting. I personally ensured that their vital functions were preserved. Our goal would not be simpler, to vanquish death by creating the perfect righteous man, which I have dubbed the Trisomata. How am I enjoying the DLC? It's good so far, honestly. It stands up to the rest of the game. It clearly fits right into the storylines. Needless to say, the procedure is highly experimental and demands a certain looseness of interpretation in regards to augmentation canons, as well as integration of components that would incur the Imperium's disapproval. The Omnissiah teaches us to surmount any obstacles in the name of knowledge, especially when pursuing a goal of such a magnitude. What is the Trisomata? A triune essence, amalgam of the best constituent parts of three individuals who excelled themselves in service. Metaphysically, it consists of three beginnings: mortal flesh, ferrous sanctum, and righteousness. By creating the perfect combination, we achieve a totality that is vastly superior of its components and its qualities and usefulness to the Imperium. Dude, I cannot imagine how this guy deals with the like flesh manipulator in Act 3. They must be really interesting interactions, so... Excited for the next DLC for the full playthrough. I definitely am excited for Dogma. So different from how we're playing, but also still very heartless, you know? What's the practical significance? In the current state, each of the subjects are doomed, but just as parts of the dying mechanism can be combined to create a functioning machine, so can these subjects be combined into a single entity. Yes, let's make a weird homunculus, granting them continued life through the correct configuration of the Fair of Sanctum and organic components. The only thing I require to continue the experiment is a solution to my dilemma: which subject should serve as the basis? How did you decide to create them out of these three? Strong arguments in favor of each of them. They've all performed their service impeccably, which suggests outstanding human qualities. Second, each body is robust enough to receive the blessing of the Omnissiah. And third, there's no other chance of salvation for any of them. Such talk of deviation from canons and mysterious components sounds suspiciously akin to heresy. Far from it. It's a calculated risk taken for the sake of an experiment whose importance surpasses any possible complications many times over. I exercise great diligence in overseeing the procedure. There's no cause for alarm. Why are they all so horribly mutilated? First is that they were previously fatally injured. I've performed numerous rites and manipulations to ensure that each was able to avoid the fatal outcome. The second is I've been conducting the necessary measurements to fully assess the compatibility of the configurations of Fair of Sanctum. Organic components for an optional experimental result requires extraction of said components. And why is this so important to you? An angry spark zips along the pistons of his beard. He floats higher because I cannot abide the senseless waste of potential. I cannot accept that a foolish accident and the fragility of organic flesh can in an instant deprive the Imperium of worthy servants. If I am able to extend their service life, I will do so, whatever the cost. Awareness test succeeded. Eogun's passionate speech could be mistaken for pride and conceit, but something else lies behind it, a doggedness born of some deeply personal experience. The man carries a heavy burden and an experiment to but one of his many attempts to relieve himself of it at last. These are not things. You're talking about people. Your experiment is an abomination. No, I will help you. What role am I to play? A decisive one. I can detail the composition and humor ratio of each experimental subject, measure the mass of their frontal lobe to answer one picosecond accuracy of how often their heart contracts. But how does one calculate a man's righteousness? How do you weigh diligence of service? You will help me answer these questions by choosing the basis of the trisomata. Your assessment will be a linchpin upon this experiment. What does Nunzians have to say? We've had more than one concilium, but we've never reached a consensus. He's a skeptic, and our positions rarely align. We tend to reach a compromise in the end. Alas, not on this occasion. We need a third option. What do you understand by the term righteousness? The combination of countless factors that unite the thoughts and deeds of a person into the quintessence of the worth of being within a specific society. I'm at a loss how to provide a broad definition, but no matter. Much more important is how you define righteousness. What is it that Nuncius disagrees with? The servo skull hovers in haughty silence, which is broken only by Eogan's sighs of exasperation. To condense his overly pedantic response, Nuncius does not consider righteousness to be in any way a significant factor in this research. Had I less respect for my dearest colleague, I would say that this constitutes an egregious misunderstanding of the concept of trisomata, but it's indicative of an extremely close-mindedness. Such remarks are beneath me. Why not combine all three minds to serve as the basis? Three minds cannot coexist in one body. Setting aside the fact that even I would not be capable of achieving such a feat, in theory it would certainly lead to the complete destruction of all three minds. Some thinkers might consider it heresy. You sense the some agreement in Nuncius' silence. We've encountered many such points of contention over the years. Tell me about the merits of all three. Enforcer Lorink diligently served on the ship since birth, a participant in countless combat landings where he was a model of valor and steadfastness. He was known on the lower decks for being tough but fair. His last act of heroism was the rescue of an enforcer patrol and a number of workers. Lorink placed his own body over a crack grenade thrown from the crowd by a mutineer. Preacher Cleopanes, the old man, originally served on the ship's reliquary, rejected the luxury of the chapel in favor of an eternal pilgrimage on the decks where no servant of the ecclesiarchy had ever set foot. Through his example and word, he encouraged and instructed the outcast and forgotten. Thousands of souls who otherwise would have lost their faith and fallen into heresy came to know the word of the emperor, but it only took one end to his preaching for good. A madman attacked him during a sermon, ripped his vocal implant out before the crowd tore him apart. Finally, we have Mikosh, a ventilation shaft crawler from Sorting Hub 10. He doubtfully burned mold, slime, and vermin and would be the first to climb into block ducts, risking his life to deliver recycle air into the sector. He was a true believer and never lamented his lot. On his final foray, he saved hundreds of workers by using his body to plug a hole in the combustible gas pipe. The toxicity led to cardiac arrest and blood poisoning. Huh. I definitely don't want the priest. The Enforcer has a Von Valancius tattoo on him. And as a noble, I feel like, you know, that's the closest thing to being selfish here. He's also like the best body in terms of, you know, this guy's really like a skinny little void rat. I'm gonna go with the Enforcer. Yeah. The choice has been made, but will you deign to answer my question, why? I must know your thought process. Only the strong are worthy of surviving. The rest are expendable. He did not fear death, and so he is strong. Cool, so no matter who I pick here, I could pick one of these three options. Are we building a droid? We're basically taking 3 humans and making 1 human out of them. Thank you, Biggest Turk. That's it. The solution to our dilemma. I will begin the trisomata procedure. Organic flesh and sacred machinery be one. Kind of like creating a homunculus. With a barely audible crunch, Eogan's injector mechadendrites pierce the brain tissue. The man's face contorts in anguish and the back arches in a fit of spasms. His brows furrow. The generator delivers a powerful pulse of the motive force, and an unfortunate man drops limply back down to the table. The text priest's manipulators dart between the 3 bodies, separating organs, augments, and limbs, and transporting them to the new host. Discharges of energy coruscate around Eogan's hulking figure, growing brighter and brighter until the final flash leaves you temporarily blinded. When your vision returns, you see the manipulus carefully releasing the subject's limbs. The process is complete. Oh, he looks like he's not having a good time. Off he goes. The creature, which a second ago resembled a humanoid lump of bloody meat studded with metal, suddenly leaps with unexpected vigor, tossing Egan backwards and letting out an unintelligible howl of suffering. Before anyone can react, the amalgam man barrels towards the entrance of the Sector Bionica, filling the deserted corridors with his plaintive moans. Impossible. The calculations were perfectly calibrated, all factors taken into consideration. Was the specimen defective? I must find him immediately and determine what went wrong. Your compbeat crackles to life. Lord Captain, an urgent report from Mistress Sourback. A strange creature resembling a malfunctioning servitor is headed towards the lower decks, shouting pleas that make reference to you and Febris. Enforcers have been dispatched to intercept, but they assume that you would prefer to assess the situation personally. Truth be told, Nuncius and I predicted this outcome. We must go after him. One way or another, we must see the experiment through to the end. Human centipede style? Well, kind of. Surgery would work so much better if the anesthesia was a thing. Listen, you just have to believe in the God Emperor. There is no other anesthesia. So... adventure. Bloody beer footsteps stretch further down the passageway. Now, we know this place. I've been here before. This right here is the lower decks. The worker is huddled on the floor, imprint of a mechanical hand on his shattered soldier. Some seized him with great force and threw him against the wall.
The world trembles beneath my feet.
Is he praying? Interesting. The Trisomato lies prostrate before the entrance to the bay, the faint Aquila on the door the only witness to his incoherent babbling. Historical wails of righteous triune man are interrupted from time to time by the clanging of his augmented skull against the deck. A viscous mixture of blood and oil oozes from the staples on his forehead, his fingernails chipped from his attempts to dig the implants out of his body. Check the arsenal. The Dynasty's banner is eider down and shroud. Do you want me to throw you in a cell? A spasm racks his body, and the already muddled speech turns into a frightening cacophony that barely resembles articulation. Suddenly, the Trisomata pounds his head on the deck again and again, spewing forth another melody of Regis sentences. Please, please come back alive. Where's your helmet, soldier? God Emperor, I will not be afraid. I will not be afraid. The spasm repeats. Egan clucks his tongue with displeasure, worrying out a piston in his beard as he thinks. The subject left the Bionica prematurely. Nuncius is right. I was so absorbed in the procedure that its successful outcome that I made the mistake of unfastening the restraints before the psychological evaluation could be conducted. Rogue trader, we must stabilize them before the specimen is forever lost. Could have avoided this with a closed door. Yeah, truth. Nuncius, present me! The servo skull hovers haughtily without uttering a word. It is clear he thinks you need no introduction. All right, there's like 10 out of 10 for the writing of whoever did Nuncius right now. I'm absolutely loving it. Abelard, scowling jealously at Nuncius, mutters, "Allow me, Lord Captain. Trisomata, before you stands the rogue trader Bicus Turg von Valancius, Lord Captain of this vessel and sovereign of its crew. Solely by his grace do you still live. One wrong word, one wrong movement, and I will personally call the enforcers down upon you." The mumbling and head-thumping stop. The man shifts his clouded gaze to you, and you see recognition in his eyes. "The Lord Captain, I serve the Dynasty." With an unpleasant clang, the man slams his augmented hand into his chest in a military salute. He freezes like a stalled machine man, then an agonizing shudder runs through his entire body and blood trickles from his mouth. Is this punishment? Am I not permitted to die? I will not fear. Eider down and shroud. Focus on what's important. Remember who you are. The Dynasty's banner, enforcer, Lorink. He speaks his name in a drawn-out growl, but then confusion clouds his gaze. He seems to have forgotten it. Check the arsenal, the slashing sword and bulwark of the Dynasty. I gave my life because of my duty. The Trisomata looks more stable, a little more, and you could calm him down. You've undergone a grave operation. The implants need time to settle, and the body and mind need time to adapt. I promise you will feel better. The pain will fade. The dynasty's batter. My duty. He stops. The poor man's shoulders slowly slump and the convulsions steadily subside. His lucidity does not last long. The amalgam's eyes soon go blank and his mouth stretches into a blissful smile. Rocking peacefully and drooling, he murmurs broken snippets from his former life and prayers to the Emperor. Absurd, unacceptable. You have succeeded in pacifying him, but the Trisomatter is rejecting the attempts of the implant's machine spirits to contain the cognitive entropy. Total personal degradation is inevitable. I must reassemble him. Quite the oddity he's become. Send him to the upper decks and let the officers marvel and make sport of him. Ooh. I feel like letting Eogan do it again is also not going to work, but I do want to let him try this. The Trisomatter stops mumbling and begins spasming violently as bloody foam spills from his mouth. He turns his face contorted with hatred towards the Manipulus. Better death than that. Be gone, be gone. Oh. Rogue Trader, I am experiencing a cognitive block. I have analyzed every possible failure or hypothesis and double-checked every step I made. I failed to identify a single mistake. The organic parts in the Ferrum Sanctum joined together perfectly. The brain was perfectly preserved. These complications should never have occurred, yet the outcome cannot be denied. My calculations are perfectly correct, and that is an uncontrovertible fact. So is the flaw in the condition or the subjects themselves? People are divided into useful and useless. All three of your test subjects were piteous rubbish. Repeat the experiment with worthy specimens. He claps a hand to his forehead. Of course, the main criteria of an experiment are reproducibility and consistency. One failed trial and I'm ready to give up? Absurd. Is replacing injured subjects with healthy ones truly the answer? To rethink a selection criteria is most certainly in order. I thank you for your contribution to our research. Nuncius and I can call you a colleague in earnest. I need to think and discuss this data with Nuncius. Find me on the bridge when you're ready to discuss the results. Cool. Ooh, goods. Lower deck rabble, what are you doing up there?
Embrace true power.
Very good, sirs. Back to the bridge. Back to Dargonus. I mean, I guess we should probably talk to Fabius. Because he's probably going to be like, I would like... Corrupted ship servant. Oh, cool. Where is Eogan? He is not on the bridge. Oh, no, he is. Down by Mazrahai. Mazrahai? Marazai? Timing is impeccable. I'm ready to discuss the experiment we've been conducting and on other decks. Oh, I have so many things I can ask him. Some of my retinue accused me of heresy and left. Why have you remained? How often was that the most grievous accusation leveled at Nuncius and I? More often than not, it's merely a tool used by those in power to condemn everything they do not understand or simply do not wish to see. Your methods are unconventional, and that rankles you into believing you are infringed on the established order of thing. Isn't that why the Rogue Trader is granted such staggering power, that they might conquer those domains? Someone who forever toes the line cannot? We live in truly absurd times. Cabela has a skull companion of her own. Do you think he and Nuncius can get along? That mutant skull that Mistress Cabela has chosen to establish familiar relationships is a crude anatomical aid and nothing more. I suppose her conversations can be characterized as a primitive means of meditation, where the individual projects her state of mind and thoughts into an inanimate object and thereby achieves a certain degree of introspection. Nuncius, by contrast, contains a machine spirit, which we know every creation of the Omnisci to possess. He also happens to be highly erudite in a complex construct. He opts not to comment on your witty remark. What's the meaning of life? No, let's just go talk about the Trice of Mana. After processing all the data, including your invaluable contribution, my dear colleague and I engaged in a lengthy debate. The cognitive block has been resolved. We must repeat the experiment. We need to identify several control groups, correlate all the factors, and carefully record the results. You don't discard a hypothesis after a single failure. You must gather evidence. The path of knowledge demands it. The Omnissiah blesses us with a resilient mind and willingness to make sacrifices. Once I have exhausted all possibilities and examined the full range of data, I will be prepared to admit defeat. Does Nuncius agree? We have managed to reach a consensus on the root of the problem. The rest can be overlooked. He's not convinced by all my conclusions, but that's no terrible. He and I share a common path. Well, we've learned something valuable, which means this experiment was not in vain. Precisely. A man chooses what he is made of, regrets for his past mistakes, and experiment all gain from them. Only those who choose the latter can attain true wisdom. I wish to thank you. You helped me cope with a situation that was beyond my control and recognize my mistakes. This is worth a great deal. I was considering using this implant as an experiment, but I thought it too valuable to waste on the laity. MK Officer. Using combat stimulants does not afflict negative effects. Whenever the user grants an ally an extra turn, any stimulants used by that ally during this turn will not inflict negative effects. This number increases the Pharaoh Sanctum stacks increased by 3. So this is kind of interesting. I've noticed that MK Officer, like we have a couple pieces that are MK Officer, and now I'm kind of wondering if you equip a whole like set of MK Officers, is there like a set bonus? Because that was like MK Warrior, MK Officer, MK Officer. What's your optical thing? Seneschal's Manicular. Jump maneuver. Upon landing, there's a 30% chance that the user falls prone and deals 30 shock damage with 60 armor pen. Cannot act, suffers 30 penalty to parry and dodge. I don't know if you need those. But I don't mind giving him more implants. Void Fort Hurox Rim. Oh, yeah. I forgot about that, like, space fortress we took over. So what is cool here, right? Oh, no, the following project must be completed in Colony Bastion. Oh. There are new things here. Bestower of Freedom. 3 times Iconoclast rank Fellowship. The Charter of Minimal Rights. By declaring Koronus the defense center of the Koronus Expanse, the rogue trader can requisition foreign vessels and collect additional resources from the population. Complacency reduced. Profit factor increased. And then there's a rank 5. Loyalist Garb. Echo of Victory. Woebringer. The fate of millions of orphans whose parents fell in the fire that gripped the Expanse, the Scholar Progenium. If the wearer has not moved, their cover efficiency is increased by 20%. If the wearer moves, they get dodge. Woof. Base property, dodge against ranged attacks. So it's like sniper armor. Librarium. Secret librarium where scholars of the arcane are share their knowledge and delve into the forbidden. Whenever the wearer attacks any target in a 5 radius with a ranged weapon, it does 25% more damage. Casabelica gets happy about that. You must have the secret layer. Must have pure blood. Society of Cartographers. Woebringer. Two-handed Drukari weapon that pushes enemies away. Complacency for all colonies. What other, do all my colonies have new projects? Decree of Diligence? A mechanical trade? Memory of the Daring? Big ship upgrade? So they changed this. So Dargonis used to only be able to get rank 5 based on, having a colony, which admittedly is something that drove me insane. You have the Science of Virtue, reputation with Drusians. Preacher of the Cult of St. Drusus is going to visit Janus. Increases your dogmatic ranking. Death Cult of the Reaper Emperor. Dogmatic increase. Vabos has, what, Underground Workers? Holy Servitude? Melta Ring? Cool. Extractum Metallica. Purification by Death. Dude, I love that. That's baller. It's nice to see them like expand all the colony stuff as well. It's a very good feeling when you have the opportunity in the game to like see your colonies grow as time goes on and shift in shape with your own weird and terrible decisions. My capital is crazy. There's just like people hanging from the walls. There's blood everywhere. I see chaos corruption. This, I feel like, is something they've also updated. I do not remember Dargonis being this corrupt. But I'm for it. Obviously, we are just a demon prince in training. I was gonna say, is here also like super corrupted? But no. Presumably the machine is here? Mysterious Xeno artifact. I don't remember that being here before. That feels new. Man, they've done some really good updates to this game over the time. Yeah, I mean, there's all these like chaos markings on the ground. There's just a huge puddle of blood here. I do not know what the thing I'm looking for is. I do wonder if the Curiosity Merchant has anything new. He does. Cyber Eagle, Servo Swarm. Unholy Idol. Oh, they added in heretical updates to the Curiosity stuff. Servo Swarm gains 20 Fellowship and Intelligence. Enemies that are under surveillance automatically fail all tests against the Overseer. Cyber Raven gains 25 willpower and agility. The Overseer gains the Call to Harvest ability. What is Call to Harvest? Veil degradation changes to 20. The Cyber Raven is deactivated and 4 random demons appear in their place. They attack every creature in combat except each other. Man. That's sick. The Overseer of the Cyber Raven ignores this creature's cover. Additionally, the creature cannot block the Overseer's attacks using a shield. Cyber Eagle gains perception and agility, deals more damage. The Dog of War gets maximum wounds, does more damage. It's an insane upgrade. Currently, mine gets 5 Fellowship and Intelligence. When any signal effect is active, the Servo Skull gains 4 deflection and counts as cover for its allies, right? But this one is Fellowship and Intelligence, and everything fails tests. I do wish it looked a little different, but... Which for me is like... Yeah, like I have like Warp Shriek, Incinerate... Ignite. Target must cast an ability resistant, so they can't stop being on fire when I light them on fire now. That's pretty good. The computer was in here. I just missed it. Ancient Cogitator before you is a true work of art, obedient your commands. The machine spirit awakens with a soft hum of greeting. Identifier Laria. It falls deep in thought, its cooling systems buzzing tensely. After a few minutes of keeping you waiting, the vid screen blinks and it dutifully presents to you a list of several journal entries not been accessed in centuries. 3-star system in the Cineris Malefium come to my possession. The Tears of Solar, Ignis Corona, and Fortis Porta. New horizons that have never been humanity's rule and whose rogue Xeno overlords obliged me greatly by having eliminated each other. The artifacts they left behind, a legacy of sorts, are priceless. A blade I took off a desiccated Aldari corpse carries immense power within it. It is what one amongst a wealth of relics. Okay. The 32nd Mirov. Korda is getting sloppy. He used his Calixtus connections to give me utter dregs, whom he tried to pass off as elite troops, but I can only thank him for the lack of judgment. Those with nothing to lose make the most loyal servants once they feel a modicum of their master's good graces. Lowly scum no more, they will be the sword and shield of House von Valancius. Interesting, so this person was alive during Korda. And the Crimson Dance of Cain. A power contained within this blade is the most mysterious one. Even Exalt 117's keen mind has failed to comprehend it fully. Nor have several Eldari Xenos captured on my orders been able to tell me anything illuminating, save for the weapon's name, the Crimson Dance of Cain. I know Cain to be an all-obliterating embodiment of war itself as the abominable belief system, a fitting name for it. I think there is an insane build probably right now with a Blade Dancer and this sword. Because if that's the Sword of Cain, like, request archive. Okay. If that's what that's saying, it's the Sword of Cain. from like Warhammer Fantasy. That's like basically the most powerful weapon in Warhammer Fantasy. I guess to the voidship bridge. And then I want to see where these places are. Where on the map? Where oh where in the Koronus Expanse is Carmen Sandiego? Ba 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 ba. No, that's Porta Septum. Up here. That's Vabos. The Terror of Solar. Okay. So we go up to Vabos. Then we can stabilize that route. We have a crazy amount of charter points, so... In fact, it looks like it just gave us 4 extra ones. So we should be able to do that and take that adventure. But we better save that for the next time, because that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for joining us. If you want to check out the Museum of the Infinite DLC, it is out now. They just launched it today. So far, it seems like it's a really good integration into the base game. Obviously, they've been just giving this game a lot of great updates and love over the years. We'll probably continue on and check out the rest of this DLC, because I am just kind of curious as to where it goes and what it does. And we'll have to save a full actual playthrough for later in the year when the next DLC drops as a dogmatic run. So we'll see you back here next time. Bye-bye.